We're looking at a book today with its title, Underground. Do you see the U? The U in underground. And the author and the illustrator is Denise Fleming. We're going to learn about a lot of animals that live underground. Low down. Can you see there by the ground? You can see a rabbit. Way down. Where do you think they're headed? Way down. Underground. You got it. Look at some of the things we see underground. We see carrots. Carrots grow underground. The carrot part that we actually eat is the root of the plant. That's the part that we eat. What else lives underground? Yup, you got it right. Worms live underground. What are these right here? These are actually called beetle larvae. Beetles lay their eggs underground, and when the eggs start to grow, they turn into what's called larvae. This is what a beetle looks like before it becomes an adult. And they live underground before it's a regular beetle that can fly. Creatures dig. What's that rabbit doing? You're right. He's eating the carrots that grow underground. Look at this creature. That's a mole. A mole. M-O-L-E. Mole. A mole digs tunnels under the ground. A mole has very strong front legs with very long nails. What do you think those strong front legs and long nails are good for? You got it, for digging. They eat worms that are underground, and they dig deep tunnels to sleep in and to store their food. And run around. We can see there's a fox down here. A fox likes to live underground. What do these look like? I can see ants. Ants live in communities. They like to live together and they lay eggs. And those eggs will eventually become ants. Ants also dig tunnels and have these, which are called chambers, where they lay their eggs, and they also keep food in some of those chambers. They go past highways and byways. Look at the animal we have here. These are chipmunks. A chipmunk, and this one is a woodchuck. Chipmunks and woodchucks dig many, many tunnels. They like to store their food, and they sleep in their tunnels. But their tunnels also have many exits. An exit means a way that they can get out. So a chipmunk and a woodchuck have many tunnels. They have many ways in and many ways out. Looks like some onions are growing underground too. Squirmways and wormways. We can see that the worms all tunnel underground. we have a deer mouse right here. A deer mouse digs burrows. A burrow is a hole that's pretty close to the surface of the ground. They don't like to dig deep tunnels. A burrow is something that's a little closer to the top by the surface of the ground. A deer mouse will dig a burrow and then use grass to build a nest. Here we have a toad. Toads also dig a burrow. That means it's close to the ground. They like to be under rocks. Can you see this toad's burrow is under the rock where the soil is very damp or kind of wet? There's that mole again. See him with his long nails? Look at this guy. There's a turtle. A turtle also has a burrow. Look at that, close to the ground. It lays its eggs in a burrow so that they're safe. Our words say digging furrows and burrows. He has his eggs underground so they're safe. Round roots and bones. We can see underground there's many roots. Roots from trees and plants and vegetables. All of those grow underground so that the plant gets water from the ground, so that the plant is very strong. The roots hold it in place in the dirt or the soil. And what do dogs do underground? Right, they bury their bones. And rocks and stones. Underground, there's lots of rocks and stones. That's why sometimes digging underground is hard, because you might be digging into a rock or a stone. I like that. There's that chipmunk. He's planting something in the ground so those roots can take hold. Look at this page. Funneling and tunneling. Those are yellow jackets. It's what we would call a bee, but it's yellow, so it's called a yellow jacket. And yellow jacket builds nests underground. Look at the tiny opening up here, and yet look at how big the nest is right here. They build paper nests. How do they get paper? Well, it's made by the bees. The bees use wood, so they eat some wood and use that. They chew on the wood, and they chew on some plants, and they mix the wood with what they've eaten and chewed on from the plants, and it makes a kind of paper, because paper comes from wood. And they make their nest. Now, the yellow jackets will leave you alone, but if you bother their nest, they're going to get very angry. What do you see here? There are those bunnies. The rabbit has a burrow. Remember, it's very close to the surface, very close to the ground to keep those bunnies safe underground. Working their way through sand and clay. Under the ground, sometimes you also find a little bit of sand mixed in with the dirt. And clay is a very, very hard kind of dirt. And you find clay down deep. If you dig very deep, you get to a very hard dirt, which is clay. You might find it if you were digging very deep to plant a tree. This one says it's a Bing cherry tree. And you would have to dig very deep for that big root to plant that tree. You might run into some clay. Way low down, way down. Look at that squirrel. What's the squirrel doing? Burying an acorn? Right. Squirrels bury their food for when they get hungry later, they can dig up their food for something to eat. They have a very good sense of smell. They can find where they buried their food. That was a good story, wasn't it? Underground. There's all that activity underground. We learned lots of underground facts today about our animals.